So I had an idea. What if I combined that oven and that stove into one? So for our last stove, the first one, I had a bunch of holes and things to line stuff up with. This time I've just gone with a slot and tab design. And it will fit. No warping, no bending. That's a lot better. Now come on, be honest. How many of you out there thought he's not going to get that? I was one of them. There's a few tabs missing, so gonna have to go back into the drawing and find out what happened to those. But apart from missing tabs, I'm pretty happy with that. Definite improvement.
So this is the bypass tube, and what its job is to allow the heat to travel underneath the first pot and make its way to the second pot. This is what makes this stove a dual top burner. And in a small way, it also helps to create a more even heat inside the oven. Now, in welding this combustion chamber in place, I'm not going for an airtight seal. I'm not going to fully weld it. It just doesn't need it. All you need to achieve is to stick it in there and make sure it doesn't break loose. So I'm just tacking in all the corners or stitching. And I actually want it to leak a little bit of that smoky gas goodness into the oven so that it flavors whatever I'm cooking. It sort of goes without saying, don't handle this stuff unless you're wearing a dust mask. You don't need to be breathing the fine ceramic fibers in, and yeah, wash your clothes when it's all done. Just minimize any risk. Use a bit of common sense. So steel isn't perhaps the best choice for a rocket stove, but being a metal worker, it's kind of my preference. But to minimize any thermal loss, I'm insulating the crap out of this thing. I'm putting this ceramic fiber blanket in every nook and cranny that I can to really maximize the efficiency. And I found that this works really well. It totally changes the characteristic of how the stove functions. Like, it's night and day. When you haven't insulated the stove, you're really limited to the diameter of the wood you can use, but when it's insulated, you can really run a lot larger material. And when you're running larger material, you don't have to feed it as constantly, and it's just great. As you can see, I'm tacking this thing together. There were slots cut in the back of the stove that corresponded with the internals, so all I needed to do was spot weld through and hold it all together. Now I'm just tacking around the outside, tacking and dressing. Welding, I'd say that 50% of good welding is in the prep, and getting a good even gap all the way around, it just makes your life so much easier. And don't try to hammer the material without tacking it first. It'll just spring straight back. I'm welding in the internal heat shield. What that is doing is giving me some protection from the fierceness of the heat coming straight from the firebox. I don't want that kind of heat in the oven. I think I'll just end up burning everything on one side. And it's just a matter of tacking the whole thing out and then fully welding it, as you can see here. I'm just doing big long runs. I'm not too concerned about distortion because the whole stove is made from 2mm mild steel, hot rolled. The great thing about outside corner welds is they pull the least out of all the welds. As far as distortion is concerned, you can just go do nice big long runs, and if you've tacked it enough, you basically won't have any trouble with distortion. I'm going to spare you all the grinding and cleaning up that happened. It's just a matter of linishing off the welds and getting a nice flat even finish. What you're looking at is the back of the oven door there, and it's getting insulated with more ceramic fibre. The purpose of the insulation is twofold. One is to obviously keep the heat in, but the handle that's going on the outside is steel, and I don't want that to get hot. So by insulating the door, I'm keeping the heat down in the handle, and that did a really great job. The handle never really got hot. And speaking of the handle, I really love that thing. It gives the whole stove a sort of an oldie time wood combustion stove feel. And the doors were held on with these weld-on hinges, which are always fun to line up. The finishing touches was this air dampener. That allows me to let excess heat out and somewhat control the heat of the oven.
How it's pulling that smoke in. Is what you want to see.
So, do you want a small bake by the best small baker in town?
Yeah, I'll have a small.
Baby doesn't need sugar before bed. Sugar will be.
No. Ah! Little more, and it will be on fire.
Burning toast on one side and a simmer on the other. That's kind of what I was going for.
Ooh, and it rises by itself. Very nice.
Beautiful. Okay, we've got some scones. The oven is up to temperature, and I quickly made a latch to hold the door closed and added some that fiberglass self-adhesive rope to seal the door. So just clips. Okay, and there you go. So we're comfortably sitting at around about 180 degrees. That's a good temperature for baking. Scones are in. I've been messing around with this air dampener. And I really should have cleaned out the ash before starting this next burn. But even with the bottom opening nearly completely clogged, the stove is still chugging away quite nicely. There's no smoke. In fact, it's quite... I love the smell of this hardwood. It's almost sweet. It's quite nice. I'm hoping that'll infuse into the scones a little bit, as I made sure there were just a few little areas where the smoke and the smell could work its way into the oven to hopefully flavour it a bit. What do you think, my love?
Beautiful.
Is it good for a hungry pregnant woman?
Oh, yes, definitely.
I've learnt a few things in life along the way, and one is do not get in between a hungry pregnant woman and the fridge.
Yes. And if she's at Macca's and says she doesn't want a burger, she actually does.
She does.
It would be dangerous for you to buy one for yourself, but not for her.
Oh dear.
Even if she thinks she doesn't want it.
Well, scones, jam and cream. This is a really nice way to finish out.
I'd have to say, because of the CNC plasma table, this sort of rapid prototyping has been just so much easier. I've gone from a concept to a functioning model in very little time.
Who's this?
Baby Verity.
Hello, Verity.
She's nearly 2 weeks old.
Wow. She's doing well. So are you, Mama.
Yeah.
This kid's got an appetite.
Yep.
It's like liposuction through the breast. Yeah.
Great.
We can edit that out. Hello. Hello. Oh, you look so sad. Oh dear. And enough cute babies. This is the other cute baby I've been working on. No, that's not. You need some hot coals.
Yes, to light a fire with.
Oh, okay.
Can I start a fire without hot coals?
Well, that's fair enough.
Here's the hot coals. Dad, we need hot coals.
Okay, this has been burning for 3 minutes, so there's basically no warm-up time, which is fantastic.
I need to get
So, pretty much 2 sticks and some coals is cooking some chicken, boiling some potatoes, and cooking a sticky date pudding. That's not bad.